The sky over northern France in May 1940 was a dull, smoke-stained gray, the kind of sky that seemed to press down on the earth and choke the air from men's lungs. The smell of burnt oil and scorched earth carried on the wind, mixing with the distant thud of artillery and the chatter of machine guns. France was collapsing under the weight of the German Blitzkrieg, and nowhere was the front more fragile than near the small village of Stonne. The Char B1 bis Eure sat in a shallow depression behind a ruined barn. She was a beast of steel, 32 tons of French armor, painted in green and brown camo, her squat 75mm hull gun glaring forward like the eye of a stubborn bull, the 47mm turret gun scanning for prey. Her commander, Captain Pierre Billotte, stood half-exposed in the cupola, field glasses pressed to his face. His crew, driver Sergeant Lefebvre, gunner Corporal Joinery, loader Durand, and radio operator Martin, waited in tense silence. Billotte had been given a simple yet absurd order: hold the crossroads at Stonne, no matter what. Intelligence had reported German armor moving in the area, but no one in command believed an entire company could be heading straight toward them. At 8:15, the first German tanks appeared, silhouettes emerging from the tree line a kilometer away. Panzer Iris and IVs, at least a dozen of them, with infantry support trailing behind. Their formation was perfect, their confidence obvious. To them, this was just another quick thrust into a crumbling French sector. But they didn't know they were driving into the jaws of a monster. Billotte didn't wait for them to get comfortable. He barked, "Driver, forward, slow advance. Turret, target the lead Panzer." The Char B1 lumbered out from behind the barn, her engine roaring like a wounded animal. The Germans froze for a moment. This was no flimsy French light tank, but the heavily armored B1 bis they had heard whispers about. The first 47mm shot cracked out, slamming into the Panzer III's frontal armor. Sparks flew, the tank shuddered, and its crew bailed out in panic. Before the Germans could respond, the Char's 75mm hull gun roared, blasting a second Panzer into twisted scrap. The enemy formation faltered. A German commander shouted orders over the radio, and the Panzers fanned out to encircle the lone French tank. Billotte grinned grimly. "Let them come." Machine gun rounds clattered harmlessly against the B-1's thick armor, and even the 37mm shells from Panzer III cannons ricocheted like stones off a fortress wall. Inside the French tank, the crew worked like a machine, Lefebvre keeping the B-1 angled to maximize armor protection, Joinery methodically picking targets, Durand reloading under choking fumes. Billotte's voice stayed calm, but his heart pounded. "Two on the left. Turret gun, fire." A Panzer III exploded in a puff of black smoke. "Hull gun, right flank." The 75mm shell tore through another tank's engine block, setting it ablaze. The Germans were stunned. They fired again and again, but the B-1's armor shrugged off their best attempts. The only danger was from flanking shots, and Billotte wasn't going to let that happen. Billotte ordered Lefebvre to advance directly into the German formation. It was madness, but it worked. The Char B1 was now among them, firing point-blank into Panzer after Panzer. The heavy French machine seemed invincible, shells bouncing from her hull like rain on stone. German infantry scrambled for cover, their anti-tank rifles useless against the armored giant. In 15 minutes, Eure had destroyed at least 10 tanks. The road to the village was now littered with burning hulks, black smoke curling into the sky. But the fight wasn't over. A second wave of German armor appeared over the ridge, reinforcements. Billotte counted at least another 10 Panzers. His crew was exhausted, ammunition dwindling, but retreat was not an option. The second wave charged hard, determined to avenge their comrades. This time, they tried coordinated fire, concentrating everything on the B-1. The tank shook violently as multiple shells struck, but still, no penetration. Billotte's hands were steady on the turret controls. "Keep firing, keep moving." One Panzer IV took a direct 75mm hit and erupted into flames. Another had its tracks blown off, spinning helplessly before a 47mm shot finished it. The Germans tried to flank, but Billotte swung the massive tank around, smashing through a wooden fence and using the burning wrecks as cover. The crew worked with mechanical precision. Every target acquired was destroyed seconds later. By 9 o'clock, the field was silent except for the crackle of fires and the distant rumble of retreating German vehicles. Billotte's Char B1 had destroyed 13 tanks and 2 anti-tank guns in under 90 minutes, without suffering a single penetrating hit. The crossroads at Stonne was still in French hands. The Germans, shocked by the loss of an entire Panzer company to 1 tank, pulled back to regroup. Billotte's crew climbed out of Eure, covered in sweat and grime, the acrid stench of gunpowder still in their nostrils. They had no illusions. The war was far from over, and soon the tide would turn against them again. But for one morning, they had stood against the storm and won. Billotte looked over the burning field, his voice low. "They'll write about this one day." And they did.